In the enchanting land of Sidi, two salesmen embarked on a journey selling pots, pans, and delightful handmade trinkets. With a mutual understanding, they decided to divide the town between themselves, allowing each to explore their designated areas. They also agreed that once one salesman had finished his endeavors in a particular region, the other was free to venture and try his luck in the same territory. As fate would have it, during one of their journeys down a bustling street, a destitute little girl caught sight of one of the salesmen. With hopeful eyes, she turned to her grandmother and made a heartfelt request for a bracelet. In response, the wise old grandmother, acknowledging their humble circumstances, questioned how they, as impoverished souls, could afford such luxuries. Undeterred, the determined little girl proposed a solution. They could trade their worn, black old plate in lieu of money. Intrigued by the idea, the compassionate grandmother agreed to test their luck and warmly welcomed the salesman into their humble abode. As the salesman glanced upon these impoverished and guileless individuals, he quickly dismissed the notion of investing his time and effort in them. Despite the earnest pleas of the old woman, he callously declared that he possessed no bracelet within their meager price range. However, undeterred by the initial rejection, she mustered the courage to propose an alternative, trading their antiquated plate for the coveted bracelet. With a flicker of curiosity, the salesman accepted the proposition and began to examine the plate. In a fortuitous turn of events, as he scratched its surface, a remarkable revelation emerged. Concealed beneath the darkened exterior lay a gleaming, golden plate. But he didn't let on that he had noticed it. Instead, he decided to deceive these poor people so he could get the plate for next to nothing. He said, "This is not worth even one bracelet. There is no value in this. I don't want it." He left, thinking he would return later when they would accept even less for the plate. The other salesman, after finishing in his part of town, followed after the first as they had agreed. He ended up at the same house where the poor little girl and her grandmother were. The girl backed her grandmother to trade the old plate for a bracelet again. The woman saw that this was a nice, tender-looking merchant and thought, "He is a good man, not like the rough-talking first salesman." So she invited him in and offered to trade the same black gold plate for one bracelet. When he examined it, he too saw that it was pure gold under the grime. He said to the old woman, "All my goods and all my money together are not worth as much as this rich golden plate." Of course, the woman was shocked at this discovery, but now she knew that he was indeed a good and honest fellow. She said she would be glad to accept whatever he could trade for it. The salesman said, "I'll give you all my pots and pans and trinkets, plus all my money if you will let me keep just 8 coins in my balancing scale with its cover to put the golden plate in." They made the trade, and he went down to the river where he paid the 8 coins to the ferryman to take him across. By then, the greedy salesman had returned, already adding up huge imaginary profits in his head. When he met the little girl and her grandmother again, he said he had changed his mind and was willing to offer a few cents, but not one of his bracelets for the useless black gold plate. The old woman calmly told him of the trade she had just made with the honest salesman and said, "Sir, you lie to us." The greedy salesman was not ashamed of his lies, but he was saddened as he thought, "I've lost the golden plate that must be worth 100,000. So he asked the woman which way did the honest salesman go. She told him the direction. He left all his things right there at the door and ran down to the river, thinking, "He robbed me. He won't make a fool out of me." From the riverside, he saw the honest salesman still crossing over on the ferry boat. He shouted to the ferryman, "Come back." But the good merchant told him to keep on going to the other side. And that's what he did. Seeing that he could do nothing, the greedy salesman exploded with rage. He jumped up and down, beating his chest. He became so filled with hatred towards the honest man who had won the golden plate that he made himself cough up blood. He had a heart attack and died on the spot. You see, in life, honesty is still the best policy. You might think life is unfair and that there are people who are cheaters and liars, and they're successful, rich, and mighty. Yes, they may be rich and successful, but all their success and richness are built on a shallow castle made out of lies and cheating. It is too late for them to look back and return to the good. They have to keep on going and lying and cheating until it digs their own grave for them. Honesty is the best policy. Stay humble, stay honest. Today, we explored a captivating tale that taught us a valuable lesson about honesty. In a world where deception and dishonesty may seem tempting, this story reminds us that honesty is truly the best policy. So, as we come to the end of our video, let's reflect on the important message this story conveys. In the story, we encountered two salesmen in the town of Sidi. They made an agreement to divide the town between them, allowing the other to sell where the first had already tried his luck. However, their paths diverged when confronted with an opportunity to trade a black gold plate for a bracelet. The first salesman, driven by greed, discovered that the plate was actually a valuable golden plate hidden beneath its disguise. Instead of being honest and fair, he decided to deceive the poor family, hoping to obtain the plate for next to nothing. His actions were driven by selfishness and a desire to maximize his own gain. On the other hand, the second salesman, guided by integrity, recognized the true worth of the plate. Despite the family's poverty, he traded all his goods and money for the golden plate, valuing its honesty and authenticity above material possessions. His actions were driven by a genuine sense of honesty and compassion. The climax of the story occurs when the greedy salesman realizes the truth and confronts the family. Filled with rage and hatred towards the honest man who had won the golden plate, he suffered a heart attack and met an unfortunate end. His dishonesty and greed ultimately led to his downfall. This story reminds us that even though dishonesty may appear rewarding in the short term, it will eventually catch up with us. True success and wealth cannot be built on lies and deceit. The foundation of a prosperous and fulfilling life lies in honesty, integrity, and treating others with fairness and respect. As we conclude this video, let's take a moment to reflect on how we can apply this lesson to our own lives. Let's strive to be honest in our dealings with others, to act with integrity even when no one is watching, and to value the well-being and dignity of others above personal gain. Remember, my dear viewers, honesty is not just a virtue, it is a way of life. Let's build our success on a solid foundation of truth and authenticity. Together, we can create a world where honesty prevails and integrity reigns. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope this story has inspired you to embrace the power of honesty in your own lives. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories and life lessons. Until next time, stay blessed and stay honest.